Hey everyone, welcome to another Cult Movie Tuesday right here on Night Owl Video. Thank you for tuning in. Today we are talking about Assault on Precinct 13. This is a John Carpenter movie, an early John Carpenter movie. And I know this is going to sound strange, but I don't think I watched this and just recently, and I don't think I ever saw this movie. I think I started to watch it several years ago, and I don't know, whatever mood I was in, I just turned it off. I did not want to watch it. So this was a first watch for me, and one of my blind spots as far as like 80s cinema. So really happy to finally see this. I really like this movie. And today we're going to be talking about the cast, production, reception, my thoughts on the film, where you can watch it, and all that jazz. So I hope you'll stick around. Assault on Precinct 13. This is an action crime film from 1976. So when this movie came out, I was only 6 years old. I was way too tiny to go see this at the movie theater. And honestly, I don't remember seeing this in the in the rental store. I don't know. Maybe this didn't have a wide release, but this was written, directed, scored, and edited by the incomparable John Carpenter. This stars Austin Stoker, who was also in Battle for the Planet of the Apes, Horror High. He just passed away this past fall, which I didn't realize until compiling this review. So rest in peace, Austin Stoker. He lived to the ripe age of 92, so a life well lived. And he was really great in this film. Darwin Jostin, who was also in Eraserhead as well as The Fog, also rest in peace, but that was from 1998. He passed away from leukemia. Lori Zimmer, this is one of only a few movies that she actually did before retiring from acting, as well as Tony Burton, who was most famous for the role of Tony Duke Evers in the Rocky series. And an interesting thing I learned about Tony Burton was that he played Larry Durkin in The Shining. You may remember the character Larry Durkin was the guy who ran the gas station when Scatman Crothers was trying to get back to the Overlook Hotel. Larry Durkin was the guy who fixed him up with a snowcat, that guy in the garage. So he was only supposed to be on the shoot for 1 week, but Tony Burton was a chess enthusiast. And guess who else is a chess enthusiast? That's right, Stanley Kubrick. And so what happened is, this is kind of a little side story, but anyway, I thought it was really interesting that the actor Tony Burton was supposed to be on the set of The Shining for 1 week to film his scenes as Larry Durkin, but played a game of chess with Stanley Kubrick, beat Stanley Kubrick, played Stanley Kubrick a second game of chess, beat him again, but then after that, Stanley Kubrick must have got on to his ways, and I don't think he won another chess game against Stanley Kubrick for the 6 weeks that he ended up staying on the set. So I thought that was kind of a cool little side story. This also stars Nancy Kyes, who was Annie in Halloween 1 and 2, and as a different character in Halloween 3. And I think she retired from acting after not doing a lot of films as well. The synopsis for this film, Assault on Precinct 13, is when the LAPD kills several members of the South Central gang Street Thunder, the remaining members avenge themselves by way of a bloody war waged against cops and citizens alike. Caught in the crossfire is Lieutenant Ethan Bishop, played by Austin Stoker, who's managing a skeleton crew at the local and soon-to-be closed police precinct. As the gang members close in, Bishop forms an unlikely alliance with a group of prisoners in order to defend the station and the lives of everyone in it. So really cool premise, really cool premise. And apparently John Carpenter was inspired by Howard Hawks' film Rio Bravo, as well as George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, which he used for inspiration for this film. Carpenter wrote the script in 8 days, and he also did a lot of the storyboards for the film himself. I think he did comment that 8 days was too short. But hey, it was a pretty good movie. Filming began in November of 1975, and the shoot lasted for 20 days on a budget of $100,000. Carpenter has said in retrospect that this is one of his favorite directing gigs in all of his career. So, and I think you can feel that. I mean, it was in his early days of directing. It's still got that kind of real maverick, like kind of grindhousey feel to it, and probably a lot of the shoot was pretty low tech, and so it was pretty cool, that he said that. Carpenter wrote the film's score in 3 days, so John Carpenter doesn't mess around. I mean, he gets right to business. And on that note, a lot of the critics that like the film also like the soundtrack, and it's easy to see why. The soundtrack is really cool. It's like your 70s synthesizer with your 70s drum machine. It's very minimal, very cool. And I think a bunch of electronic artists have gone on to sample it, and early rap artists. The theme song was actually turned into a vocal track, which was released as a single, which was called, where did I see that? You Can't Fight It. But it failed to become a hit. You can listen to it on YouTube. I did listen to it while I was writing my notes for this review. It's not bad. It's kind of turns it into a funk kind of a song. It's kind of funky to begin with, but it has kind of a more soulful vocal over the top, and it's not bad, but you can't beat the soundtrack to this. And I think the soundtrack runtime for this film was 23 minutes long or something, or 25 minutes long. It's not a long score, but it reuses the themes. But it's so cool. I highly recommend checking that out, as well as the film. The film went on under a couple of different titles before it became Assault on Precinct 13. Originally, Carpenter wanted to call it The Anderson Alamo, which I don't think has any teeth to it. And when he was shopping it around to distributors, he retitled it The Siege. In Germany, this film was released as Assault-Attack at Night. Those wacky German titles from 1979. That's when that was released in Germany. One scene in the film involved a child being shot in the chest. That might be a little shocking for you if you've never seen the film, but it was pretty graphic. The MPAA, after seeing that scene, said they were going to slap an X rating on this film. So apparently what Carpenter did was he said, okay, I'm going to cut the scene from the movie before I release it. And I think said they would give it an R rating. And then Carpenter went ahead and just released it with the graphic scene included in the cut. And I don't know if he ever got in any trouble for that, but it went out with that scene with the child being shot. And it's, if you've never seen it before, it is pretty, you see one of the bad guys pointing the gun at the little girl who's probably about 12, and you think, there's no way that guy's going to shoot that little girl. And when he does, it is disarming, really. You cut away to the next scene and it's oh my God, did they really do that? It's really, really, really wild to me. One of those, I'm trying to think of other scenes in movies like that, maybe the end of Taxi Driver or something, just really, really intense. So if that's not your thing, probably not going to enjoy this movie that much. Although that said, I think that's probably the most graphic scene in this film. But anyway, Carpenter says that he regrets shooting the scene in that explicit way, but it did go out to the theaters, I think, with that scene in it. The film was remade in 2005 with Ethan Hawke, but based on what I read, the critics definitely did not really enjoy that one. Most of the critics preferred this original version. The original, I was surprised to learn this too, the original VHS was released in 1978 with a Laserdisc following in 1997. I couldn't find information between those years. I'm sure it was re-released, but the original VHS was in 1978, that's early days. The film was one of the first to get a DVD release, and I think that might be this one from Image Entertainment. It's had many special editions throughout the years, including a Scream Factory, as well as Umbrella and Second Sight putting out special editions. I think the Second Sight one comes with collector cards or something. Um, the reception for this film was mixed upon its review. It did not do very well at the box office. This was cool too. George Romero saw this film at the 1977 Cannes Film Festival, and he said he loved the film. I think he was there promoting his film Martin. Um, this film did end up going on to get rave reviews on the festival circuit, and of course, it became a cult favorite on home video. Um, it currently holds a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. My thoughts on this film: I would easily give this a 5 out of 5, and I know you're going to say, you give everything a 5 out of 5, but it's just I happen to watch a lot of movies I like or feel like I'm probably going to like. So the action was great in this movie. The soundtrack, like I mentioned earlier, was so good. I think this is a really highly underrated film. If you've never seen it and you like Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China, films like that, you're gonna like this one. It's definitely got that late 70s gritty grindhouse exploitation kind of feel to it, but maybe just like a little notch above that. But like the acting is really good, and like I said, the action, there's a lot of like tense moments in it. This edition, like I said, this is actually I've been on the hunt for this for a couple of years now. This is put out by Image Entertainment, which when I first saw it, I thought this is probably going to be um, a really crappy edition of this film. Like it's probably going to be really low quality, but actually it wasn't that bad. There's no special features on this. Let's see if I can find a year on this. Yeah, I think, this is the 2003 edition. So this is not the original DVD that came out, but it's probably like a reprint of that original version. I think this Image did put out a special edition of this as well, not long after this one, or maybe in conjunction with this. But this film has a runtime of 91 minutes. Perfect. It's rated R, obviously. It's a Region 1 DVD. I never see this DVD while I'm hunting around, but if you want to get one of those boutique versions, I'm sure you can find it in one of your local movie retailers. Are there any left? Yeah, there's a few if you hunt around. But anyway, this is kind of a place marker until I can find a nicer version of it, but this wasn't bad. You can rent this on YouTube, and you can actually watch it for free on YouTube, and actually the free version on YouTube is better quality than this DVD. So if you want to just watch it on there, you didn't hear it from me, but it is there to watch, and it's pretty good quality. I don't know if it's 1080p, but it's pretty good quality. You can also rent this on Apple TV, and if you want to be above board and watch it for free, you can find it on everyone's favorite streaming service, Tubi. That's Tubi. I feel like Tubi should pay me. I'm always promoting their channel. But anyway, John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13. Wonderful, wonderful. So happy I finally got to see this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this review, give me the thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Follow me over on Instagram at Night Owl Video. And until next time, I will see you at the video store or the thrift store or just out and about somewhere. Or maybe I'll see you at some, abandoned precinct building, and we'll have a gunfight with some bad people. Who knows? But until then, please take good care of yourselves, and thank you again for watching. Bye.